Today I want to give you my 5 top tips that will guarantee you success in game development. Hi, I'm Mark Bellinger, Managing Director of Showstorm and Executive Producer of virtual reality game SteamHammerVR, The Rogue Apprentice. Now, whilst these tips are related to making a video game, they actually hold perfectly true whether you're making a music album, a film, or any other kind of creative media. Now, these tips are in no particular order, but number 1 may save you from violent episodes, Great Depression, or just stop you from going mildly insane. Now, I call these my top 5 secret tips because these are things that are very, very rarely discussed about the creative journey. Number 5, make something that you will be proud of. This is massive. This is a solid gold, 100% guarantee that you will not fail, period. There can be all sorts of reasons why somebody goes on the creative process, but this has to be number 1 on your list, bar none, in order for you to survive all the ups and downs of that process. The reason is, ultimately, you have to set a win goal that's totally within your control, that nobody else can affect whatsoever. Your goal should be to make something you're proud of. A body of work that you can look back on and go, I did that and that's the best I could do at that time. If your main motivators are adulation and financial reward, then you are setting yourself up psychologically for massive failure, as I'll explain later on in this video. Number 4, create an awesome team of people that can do stuff that either you can't or you hate doing. Let me tell you about Tom. I met Tom about 6 years ago, and Tom loves coding. I hated coding. I still hate coding. Tom loves coding, so now Tom does all our coding. If you embark on a creative process like making a game, even if you are uber level 10,000 talented, it is unlikely that you're going to be able to do everything from the process of storyboard through to final creation without needing to bring in specialist people to do some of those specialist tasks. And I don't mean marketers, we'll get to those tosses later. The truth is, you're probably brilliant at 1 or 2 things, maybe 3, but other areas you're going to need to bring in better people and surround yourself with a team of people that can do that at an excellent level all the way through. Now, there are 2 reasons to do this. When inevitably the shine rubs off of the initial enthusiasm that you had for the project, the fact that you'll have a whole bunch of people that are moving the project along will make the world of difference. Remember, not every person is up all of the time, but when you've got a team of people, you'll always have somebody that's up, somebody that's moving the project along. With that said, make sure that the people you bring into the team are super excited about the project at the beginning. Because as the project goes on and it becomes longer, sometimes years longer, and the money starts to run out, that enthusiasm will dip. So if they're not super excited about it at the beginning, you can be damn sure they're not going to be super excited about it at the end. Number 3, understand that the most valuable thing is the journey. Show me the money! Show me the money! Show me the money! Financial success of your creation is probably very high on your major list of goals, and it should be. After all, you have to keep the lights on, you have to keep food on the table. But don't lose sight of the bigger picture, and that is the journey. Life is all about the journey, and it's particularly about overcoming the adversities. Overcoming the adversities is part of the journey, the highs and the lows. You need the lows because without the lows, how would you have a reference point for when you're at the highs? When we set out to make our game, the truth is we had no earthly business of getting involved in the game development industry. Why? Well, there was not one person on our team that had ever been involved in game development. Yes, we were very experienced software developers, but not one person had been involved in game development. And certainly nobody on our team that had any experience with virtual reality, the cutting edge of game development. So why did we still do it? Because we wanted to, because we saw VR, we thought this is amazing and we want to get involved. Net result is after 2 years, the learning curve and the skill set that the team had, the challenges they've overcome, the people that they've become because of that journey we went on together, that's absolutely priceless. Now, the game itself will no doubt be financially successful under its own steam, pun intended, but there is also the knock-on effect of the skills that we've learned by investing in ourselves, diversifying the business. So when you go on a journey, there's more than one end goal to that journey. There are lots of paths that it takes you down when you step up to the plate and start swinging. Number 2, keep telling your story. The reason why companies like Disney still spend tens of millions of dollars marketing a franchise like Star Wars is that despite the fact that Disney is a globally recognized company and Star Wars is probably one of the biggest movie franchises in cinematic history, they still have to tell the story. If you don't tell the story, people won't know about it and people won't come. As I record this, we live in a time where there is an infinite amount of digital media that already exists. Even if you had 1,000 lifetimes, you couldn't possibly watch, play, or listen to all of the digital media that already exists. So up you pop with your new game, your new album, your new vlog, your new amazing app. You shouldn't be surprised if it feels like nobody cares. But that's not true. It's not that they don't care. You just have to realise you're competing with everything that was already there and everything that's new today. And tomorrow you'll be competing with even more new stuff. Now, it's likely that you don't have the sort of connections that are going to get you on the TV, all the top chat shows, all the radio stations, and it's also unlikely that you have the sort of budget that's going to allow you to put on a commercial in the break at the Super Bowl. So what do? Recognise that it's impossible to create something that everybody will universally like. That isn't your job. Your job, as we said in number 5, is to create something that you're proud of. Then it's to find the audience that are going to enjoy and love what it is that you've made. That's your goal, not to appeal to every single person because you simply won't, you simply don't have the time and the budget to do it anyway. But find your niche, find your marketplace of the people that are going to love what it is that you do. Remember, art is subjective. There's no film, no piece of music, no anything that's ever been created, no piece of artwork that has been universally loved by everyone. At very best, it's going to be 50-50. Have that in mind. It isn't going to be universally accepted that everybody loves what you do. Once you understand that and then you go telling your story to those that want to listen, that is your job. Everybody has got an opinion, but some people confuse their right to an opinion with the truth or facts. Feedback and opinion should be treated with the great quote by George Bernard Shaw in mind. He said, "The reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable one persists in trying to adapt the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends upon the unreasonable man." Or woman. Yes, if someone points out a fatal flaw or a bug to your game, you absolutely should fix it. If they point out that there's a modification that can be made, if you've got the people and the time and the budget to do it, by all means, go ahead. But beware of jumping onto every demand from every single person's opinion. That is the path for sure to utter misery. There is a great saying that failure simply cannot cope with persistence. But life has a very, very funny way of having success hide just around the corner from the lowest points that you can even perceive or imagine. Just keep going. Just persist. Just keep going. And that's easy to say, I understand that for sure. So maybe take a rest, maybe have a little pity party for a couple of days. Then get back up and tell your story. Again, number 1, embrace marketing with a sick sense of humour and an utter contempt that it richly deserves. So keep telling your story, he says, but how can I keep telling my story when there is so much noise and so many other people telling their story? Well, it's all about marketing. Marketing and advertising absolutely fucking sucks. And I make no apology for my language. In fact, the great Bill Hicks can probably put it better. Bill?
By the way, if anyone here is in advertising or marketing, kill yourself. Thank you. Just a little thought. I'm just trying to plant seeds. Maybe one day they'll take root. I don't know. You try. You do what you can. Kill yourselves. Seriously, though, if you are, do. No, really.
Let's cut the crap. Marketing is done because ultimately you want to make sales. Unless you're a massive brand like Coca-Cola, you are not in any position to be embarking on a brand awareness campaign. Your goal with marketing is to achieve sales, period. When you create something and start telling the world about it, eventually you will start being approached by professional marketeers or lead generation specialists. When those people approach you, here's one simple question that will save you a lot of time and a hell of a lot of money. Do you work on commission? To date, the answer to that question, bar none, is no. And if you're a marketer watching it and the answer is yes, by all means get in touch. Because it's very simple. If I spend money on advertising and marketing, it needs to have a positive return, i.e. I get more money back from the sales that we make from that work than I put out. Now the simple fact is that most marketers have got a massive playbook of options that you can go for, all the way from conventional marketing up through to social media. But here's the thing, all of this is constantly changing, particularly at the social media end, and none of them really know what's going to work. This is why big corporations spend millions on marketing and advertising, because they do all of it. And even if you plug in metrics to as many of these things as you can, you still don't always get an exact answer as to what works and what doesn't. Even if you split test between one video and another video, and one video gets a better response, of course you then start using that video. But the public and their wants and their wishes change, algorithms change, the type of people seeing the video changes, so it's something that's constantly needing to be worked on. If you're going to pay a marketeer to do that, that's cutting straight into the bottom line. And if any marketeer that's out there is worth their salt, they would work on commission. Now, okay, I'm giving professional marketers a really hard time, but the truth is they don't know. This marketplace is constantly changing, particularly in the digital realm with social media. Many things are changing, and it's the reason why big companies that have big budgets, the top film companies, the reason they do everything everywhere is because it's a thing called mere exposure, the mere exposure effect, familiarity. So that when a film comes out that's like a Star Wars film, you do know about it. Even if you're not interested in sci-fi, space operas, fantasy films, you're not interested in it, but you do know about it because it's been on every single TV program that you've watched. It's been on the adverts between the programs that you've watched. The actors have been around to every radio station in the world. There's posters up everywhere. It's called mere exposure and familiarity. They do it in the music industry. You start finding yourself humming a song that you're really not your cup of tea at all, but you've heard it so many times over and over again. You hated it the first time, then all of a sudden by the end of the week you're humming it. It's called mere exposure. That is not the world that most of us, certainly indie game developers, we don't live in that world. We live in the world where you have to reach out on a one-on-one basis. And yes, if you can connect with an influencer that has a lot of clout, that's fantastic. In any business, who you know is always more powerful than what you know. So if you can reach out to an influencer that can give you that little bit of exposure, that is always going to be great. But for most people, that's not as easy. It's easier said than done. Just because you send an email or tweet to an influencer doesn't mean they're going to reply. Doesn't mean they even received your email. It might have gone to spam. Just keep trying to contact them in a friendly way. That they may never get back to you, but you've got to keep trying. You've got to keep reaching out. And if it's annoying them, I'm sure they'll come back and say, hey, get in your emails, sod off, not interested. They won't do that. None will never do. But don't assume that you've contacted them and they're not interested just because they don't reply. These are busy people. And they've got lots of other people contacting them as well, and probably a diary that's wrapped up for a long time. But every day, keep telling your story. My advice is embrace it. Have fun with it. Be as creative with your marketing as you were with making the game in the first place. Also, have as much fun with it as you had making the game in the first place. We decided that we would make videos and follow the advice that we were given of, as soon as you've got something to release it. Yes, it gets trolled and it gets ridiculed and people critique it. It doesn't matter. We released lots of trailer videos right at the beginning, alpha footage, which we look back now, it's terrible, but we've left it there. It is what it is. The game's now finished, it's far more polished. If people want to judge it on those videos, there it is. That's fine. But the point is, make videos. We still make trailers about the game, we still make videos about the game, we've done documentaries. Just put all that stuff out there, because remember, it's just about telling your story and finding those people that when you have that magic moment, when somebody leaves a comment or someone feeds back to you and they go, I played your game, loved it. That is why creators make things. It doesn't matter about all the vitriol and all the trolls and all the people that critique. These are people that couldn't even hold a candle or dream to hold a candle to the creative genius that we have in the world of people that create beautiful music and amazing films, jaw-dropping games that are being developed now. It's about that one person. If one person picks up your piece of creation and gets enjoyment from it, you win. Just one. Just one. Because you've already won, because you've made something that you're proud of. Now, bear in mind, not everybody will feed back their positive experience or their negative experience, because that's how we are. There's probably plenty of things that you've enjoyed that you've not fed back to the creator. But what I would urge people to do is to do that. Feedback. If you've enjoyed something, even if it's just a quick email or a quick Twitter or a message, to go, had a great time, enjoyed it, thanks for making it. Because that really is what it's all about. And that's really what your marketing process should be about, is about going out and engaging with those that are there to be engaged with. And it's a long-term thing. It shouldn't be something that's thought about in terms of instant profit or instant success financially, or even success from adulation or the point of view of is it globally seen? Is the Metacritic score very, very high? None of that really matters. That's not really why you made your game or your creation, your film, or your music. You made it because you wanted to. You went through that journey, through that path that most people could never even imagine. You came out the other end and you delivered it. And if people like it, great. If they don't, it doesn't matter. So there's my top 5 secret tips, now not so secret. And bottom line is this: if any single person that watches this video at any point in the future gets one piece of advice from this video that helps them on their way, then it's been absolutely worth my time in sharing my experience and my opinion.